Today is Wednesday, June 21st. What to know about underwater noises detected in the search for a missing deepwater vessel with tourists inside. Also, it looks like the president's son, Hunter Biden, will plead guilty as part of a deal. We'll explain what this likely means for him moving forward. And we'll tell you about some lawmakers' efforts to impeach President Biden himself. Plus, the possible impact to the power grid as a brutal heat wave in Texas continues. Why police are searching the French Olympics headquarters. And why Netflix created a sort of fake website connected to one of its shows. Those stories and more news to know in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, time is running out for rescue teams racing to find a missing deepwater vessel that was on its way to the ruins of the Titanic with 5 people inside when it disappeared. But early this morning, search crews might have gotten its first sign of hope. The U.S. Coast Guard says a Canadian surveillance aircraft detected underwater noises in the search area. A couple news reports said there was banging every 30 minutes for several hours. And now search teams are investigating further. At this point, it's still not exactly clear what happened to the vessel, but the New York Times reports the company behind the Titanic tour, OceanGate Expeditions, has been warned for years about problems with the vessel's design. And more than 36 people, including oceanographers and deep-sea explorers, said they worried OceanGate cut corners on the certification process. OceanGate hasn't responded to those concerns lately, but for now, the main concern is the missing vessel and the people aboard. The CEO of OceanGate is one of the people on the missing sub. The others are a British businessman, a French explorer who is an expert on the Titanic, as well as a Pakistani businessman and his 19-year-old son. The vessel is expected to run out of oxygen by tomorrow morning, but rescuers are not giving up. So the Justice Department is wrapping up its investigation into President Biden's son, Hunter Biden. And in the end, it looks like he's getting a plea deal. A new court filing shows Hunter Biden is planning to plead guilty to not paying taxes in 2017 and 2018, when, by his own admission, he was addicted to crack cocaine. The AP cites sources who say the DOJ is going to recommend 2 years of probation for those charges since he's already paid back his tax debts. Hunter Biden will also enter a probation agreement on a felony charge of illegally owning a gun while being a drug user in 2018. Both of those charges are pretty rare on their own, so experts say they're not surprised to see them settled out of court. Though, keep in mind, a judge still needs to sign off on the terms set between Hunter Biden and the DOJ before this is all a done deal. The White House released a statement to say the president supports his son as he continues to rebuild his life. But Republicans in Congress say the plea deal does not amount to justice, since it likely won't mean any prison time. And they're promising to move forward with their own investigations into Hunter Biden's business dealings and possible corruption, to be continued. The U.S. House is set to vote on whether to impeach President Biden. But at this point, an actual impeachment is highly unlikely. Congresswoman Lauren Boebert introduced the motion to force a vote on 2 articles of impeachment this week, one for abuse of power and the other for neglecting his duty, both over his handling of the U.S.-Mexico border. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has also introduced impeachment resolutions against Biden, also over the border, saying the president has endangered the security of the U.S. And Greene told Politico she'd be forcing a vote on those soon, too. But even some other Republicans say they won't be voting yes on impeachment, calling these moves a distraction when they're more focused on spending bills right now. And as you can probably guess, Democrats are against them, too. The White House accused the Republicans behind the motions of only trying to get themselves attention. Separately, another Republican motion is actually expected to pass the House as soon as this morning. That one is meant to censure Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, meaning he would be formally denounced, and that would be put in the public record. Republicans want to punish him for investigating former President Trump over potential ties to Russia, saying he exploited his position on the House Intelligence Committee for political purposes. Schiff's response to this? Well, he says being censured by that crowd would be a badge of honor. A historic heat wave is still baking the south-central U.S., and the National Weather Service says there's no clear end in sight. Excessive heat warnings are in effect for almost all of Texas right now. Already, records have been broken for this time of year, like in San Angelo, Texas, where the temperature reached 114 degrees yesterday. Now the operator of Texas's power grid is asking Texans to cut back on electricity turn up their thermostats to 78 degrees or higher, and avoid running large appliances because of record demand on the system. At this point, the cutbacks are just voluntary, but that could change since meteorologists expect the heat wave to keep approaching records for the next several days. If the demand does get too high, there might be rolling blackouts, if not this month, then next month, when traditionally the temps are even hotter. Today marks the first day of summer and the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. As of this morning, it's the annual summer solstice. That's the moment when the Earth's tilt brings the North Pole closest to the sun, so the northernmost parts of the Arctic get 24 hours of daylight. Today, the continental U.S. will get 14 to 16 hours of daylight. Then, starting tomorrow, the days will start to shorten until the winter solstice in December, when we'll get the longest period of darkness. But for now, enjoy the sunshine. All right, we have more news for you still ahead. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor, AG1. I was intrigued by the nutrition supplement AG1 for a while, so I was really excited to try it. And I was surprised at how beneficial it is so quickly. It was much faster than I expected that I noticed a difference, and I really wish I would have started drinking AG1 even earlier. It's now part of my morning routine. It's just 1 scoop mixed with water. It helps me save time, and I can take it on the go whenever needed. I've really noticed it helps me feel energized. I'm not reaching for coffee or tea nearly as much as I used to, and I don't need to take a million different pills each day. Just 1 daily scoop of AG1 covers my day's nutritional basis and supports my long-term gut health. We're talking 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food-sourced ingredients. I like to add ice and a splash of lemon juice to mine, and it's really nice tasting and easy to drink. So if you're looking for a simpler, effective investment for your health, try AG1. And get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/newsworthy. That's drinkag1.com/newsworthy. Check it out. Today is International Yoga Day, and this year it's being celebrated in a big way at the United Nations. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is guiding a yoga practice at the UN in New York City. People from more than 180 countries will take part, including diplomats, artists, entrepreneurs, academics, and more. Yoga is actually considered one of India's most successful cultural exports. And Prime Minister Modi has been promoting it ever since he came into office, saying, quote, "Yoga embodies unity of the mind and body, thought and action, restraint and fulfillment," and so on. After celebrating International Yoga Day today, Modi will be flying to Washington, D.C., where he'll meet with President Biden tomorrow. It looks like there could be some controversy lingering over the 2024 Summer Olympics. This week, police searched the French Olympics headquarters as part of 2 corruption investigations. The first was actually opened in 2017 when Paris was picked by the International Olympic Committee as the 2024 host. The other began just last year, though neither investigation had been made public until yesterday. The first one is looking into suspected embezzlement of public funds. And there are concerns about some kind of contract Paris organizers reached. The second one targets suspected conflict of interest and favoritism involving several contracts. The Paris 2024 organizers would not comment on the exact contracts being investigated or the alleged wrongdoing, but they did say they've been using stringent procedures for all of the contracts that have been awarded so far. The next Olympic Games will run from July 26th to August 11th next year. They're expected to draw more than 10,000 athletes and millions of spectators. The U.S. Congress is now investigating Amazon over its warehouse safety practices. Senator Bernie Sanders announced the investigation this week. He pointed to a recent report by the Strategic Organizing Center that used government data and found injury rates at Amazon's warehouses are 70% higher than at non-Amazon warehouses in the U.S. The Senate launched a website where current and former Amazon workers are encouraged to share stories of their workplace experiences. And Amazon executives might end up having to testify on Capitol Hill. But already one Amazon spokesman is defending the company, saying it has invested more than $1 billion to improve safety since 2019 and has reduced injuries by 23% in that time. He also invited Senator Sanders to tour an Amazon facility. Some fans of the Netflix show Black Mirror might be spooked by what they see, but others seem okay with parts of it becoming reality. Netflix just launched Streamberry.tv, an exact copy of the fictional platform seen on the first episode of Black Mirror Season 6. Now, in case you haven't seen it yet, here's your warning. This is a bit of a spoiler. I'll pause for a moment in case you want to fast forward to the next story. So, the episode is about Joan, who's an employee at a tech company who learns her life is being replicated in a new TV show called Joan is Awful. Eventually, you find out users sign away their rights when they sign up for the service, then are monitored through their personal devices. And yes, some people saw this and thought, sign me up. The new Streamberry website lets people really do just that. On the site, the terms of service and privacy agreement say you're giving Netflix the right to, quote, record, depict, and/or portray you. And it goes on to be almost exactly what Joan agreed to on the show. Still, people are doing it, getting their very own Streamberry site and a promotional photo to post online. If you want to try it out, just go to youareawful.com. Just don't forget to read the terms of service first. Well, that's it for the main news today. So now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, this episode is sponsored by ZocDoc. Have you ever experienced waiting weeks or even months to get into a doctor's appointment, and then when you're finally there, it feels like the doctor just brushes you off? That can be maddening and a waste of time. A doctor should be listening and guiding you and prioritizing your care. And that's why I like to do a little research before choosing a new doctor. Well, ZocDoc is one of my go-to places to find quality doctors because they have real patient reviews listed, and they make it easy to search for only those who take your insurance. And it even lets you schedule and book right then and there. In fact, ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. Finding great care should not take up all of your time and energy. Go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. So there's another sign work culture is changing. Americans have never been so unwilling to relocate for a new job. In a recent survey, the share of job seekers who moved to take on a new position in the first few months of this year fell to 1.6%. That's the lowest level on record. And the executive coaching firm Challenger, Gray & Christmas has been doing the same survey every quarter for decades. In the 1980s and 90s, nearly a third of job seekers would move for new positions. So this is a huge change. Of course, a lot of the trend has to do with more remote work opportunities these days. Bloomberg also points to higher interest rates that make buying a house somewhere else more expensive, especially when people have to sell a home they finance with a low-rate mortgage. One researcher at the Economic Innovation Group sees this as a good thing. He says the trend lets Americans put down roots in their communities and that it could help families stay together. Well, thank you so much for joining us as part of your daily routine. And a very special shout out to our Newsworthy insiders. Thank you so much for your support. It truly makes a difference. If you're not an insider yet, please do join us. You'll get access to ad-free episodes every day and some bonus content where I'll answer your questions. Plus, you'll help make sure we can keep providing fast, fair, fun news every day, no matter what sponsors have to say about it. Go to thenewsworthy.com/insider to start your 7-day free trial. All right, we'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.